There are very obvious answers and some that would differ from a company to another. I think the first one is, and the most obvious one is, if you people leave. I think turnover is healthy, but if people leave very quickly or for very bad reasons, I think it's the worst indicator you could have. Through that, you could even link to if your people, your team, your talents can grow within the company. If every time there is a role with more responsibilities, more impact in the company, and this job is given to someone from the outside, I think it's a very bad indicator, because it means that either you don't trust your talents, or actually you didn't hire the right ones because they are not able to grow with you. Obviously, it's a matter of mixing between having people growing internally and bringing talents from the outside to challenge your ideas and to build something together. But I think for me, it's at least personally, a very bad indicator of the talents and the growth and the trust you give into your talents. And I think in terms of other bad indicators that would differ from one company to another, because people culture is depending on the values you consider being yours. For me, the quality of feedback within a company is also an extremely interesting indicator. If you have people that gossips a lot, if you have people that don't share constructive or very straightforward feedback that will go in the back of others, or not manage to give the full feedback and the full ideas that I have in mind, I think it's hurting the growth of the company. There is this famous book that we talk a lot about, that Radical Candor. I'm not a huge fan about the idea of being radically candid. However, if you think through feedback and you feel like, okay, I need to share things in a thoughtful way, I just need to find the right timing and make sure the person in front of me is ready, I think you're definitely in a philosophy that will make the company move forward. There is also something that you can always do. It's also check the perception of your company. There are different tools. The one that is maybe the most famous is Glassdoor. And I think if your company starts getting bad press regarding your way of interviewing or your way of handling employees, it's something you should be very careful on. First, you should always answer comments, whether they are positive or not, to make sure that you show that you care about those feedback, and then build your culture through those feedback. Sometimes it's not always the most relevant, but it's always good to be sure that you take them into consideration and see if there is maybe a trend created through those feedback that you might not have considered in the past.